So, Michael, my best guess is tonight we're going to talk about how, as a population, we have a tendency to overreact to things. And I think that because in the pre show here, as we were discussing things, we were reminiscing about all that fun that we had during the times of COVID and how everybody was panicked and the world was weird. And, you could do certain things, but not other things, and nothing made sense.
But I will say, COVID traffic was the best. Going down I-10, no cars, 5:30 p.m. on a Thursday. Beautiful. You will never see that again. That was incredible. Getting from Studio B to Studio A, 20 miles in 17 minutes, door to door was... I mean, that's like majestic. I don't even know how we'll ever beat that. So, maybe this hantavirus thing, not so bad.
All right. Well, Mike's wishing for a virus. I'm wishing to figure out how to speak before we really get going here. He's Mike. I'm Dan. We're in the blind, and maybe we'll be able to talk. We'll see. It's in the blind with Mike and Dan, and somehow we switched sides. Let's fix that. What the hell is it with this show, man?
I'm telling you, the universe is just
every time.
It is. It's fantastic.
It's mildly cursed.
I think part of the reason I keep coming back here just to see what the universe is going to try to do to us this time.
It certainly wants to mess with us, that's for sure. That time, the intro graphic worked just fine, but it took me 3 clicks on the music to get it going.
Yeah, I started laughing back here.
We have no studio lights on.
Oh, I can fix that. Studio lights are easy. That's just because we got to talk.
Yeah, my light will probably cut out this show. It's worked for the last 3 or 4 straight shows, but that light up there will eventually. I think tonight will be the night it goes off.
Well, something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyways, welcome to In the Blind. Here's how this goes. It's named In the Blind in part because we have no idea what we're going to talk about. That's up to Beth. She'll let us know here in just a moment. 2 topics, 20 minutes each, and then a true-false round after. We encourage participation in the chat, so do that because we can feed off of that, and that's fun. And at some point tonight, go over to itbshow.com. If you have not already signed up for our emails, do that because Beth will send you her show notes where the whole show is laid out along with reference material and everything. So that's cool. And if you are so inclined, you can donate to us over there. And you can also pick up your official Joe's House of Meth t-shirt. We're working on other merch. We'll have some of that soon as well. Shall we?
Yeah, if you guys are ready.
Never ready for this show. We can't be, by definition.
That is true.
All right. What do we got?
Okay. In most of daily life, we treat observation as passive. You look at something, you study it, you measure it. And whatever you're observing is supposed to remain fundamentally unchanged. A scientist watches an experiment. A doctor studies a patient. A person remembers a moment from their past. Observation feels separate from interference. But modern physics introduced a deeply uncomfortable idea. Sometimes the act of measuring a system changes the system itself. And one of the most famous examples is the double-slit experiment. Particles fired through 2 slits behave differently depending on whether or not their path is measured. Without measurement, they create an interference pattern associated with waves. But once the system is measured, the behavior changes. And while the science itself is extremely specific and often misunderstood, the philosophical implication is what unsettles people because it raises a strange possibility. What if observation is never truly neutral? What if awareness itself can change outcomes? And maybe the idea exists far beyond physics. People change when they know they're being watched. Conversations change once spoken aloud. Memories change each time we revisit them. Entire social systems shift once they're observed, recorded, analyzed, or publicized. And even on a personal level, attention changes things. Relationships change under scrutiny, behaviors change under expectation. Sometimes simply focusing on something alters your experience of it, which creates a difficult philosophical question. If observing something can change it, is perception ever truly passive, or does awareness itself carry a kind of responsibility?
Say that last part again, please.
If observation or if observing can change, if let's try again. If observing something can change it, is perception ever truly passive, or does awareness itself carry a kind of responsibility?
Interesting. Well, I don't know how familiar the audience is with this, but after the show, in your show notes, will you have any kind of link to the double slit?
I can put one in.
Okay. Get the show notes so you can get a link to the double slit experiment. See if we can find like a YouTube video or something on that for people, because it is amazing. Basically, what it proves is that just the simple act of something being observed changes the outcome. So the response is changed just by the action being watched. It is super crazy. And then there's the whole Schrodinger's cat thing, where there's a cat in a box. Is it alive? Is it dead? That's not determined until you open the box. Until then, it's like in both states. It's kind of messed up.
A watched pot never boils.
A watched pot never boils. Very true. I don't know. This one's fascinating to me, Michael. It always has been. You?
Yeah, it sounds on the surface kind of silly, like, oh, just because you're watching something doesn't mean it's going to change how it behaves. And it shouldn't, at least not in terms of physics. Now, in terms of human behavior, some people, as soon as the camera goes on, it's time to ham it up. It's time to be strange. It's time to do whatever. Or as soon as they know they're being watched, they're going to behave differently. But it's weird to think that particles, it's weird to think that just other things in the universe, inanimate objects, so to speak, or non-living, non-sentient things will change based on observation.
Mm-hmm. There's the whole quantum entanglement thing too, where you have one particle that's quantumly entangled with another particle that could be on the other side of the galaxy, but affecting one affects the other in real time, regardless of distance. So it's just, it's mind bending for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, observe things. Now, look, it's true, but it's not always the case. I mean, some things just are going to behave the way they're going to behave regardless, at least for me. I mean, I don't know, like for us, we're just as silly off the air as we are on here. About the only difference is we're probably a little tamer when we're live than backstage.
Perhaps.
Probably just because, monetization or potential monetization or not getting banned, I mean, is one of those things that you want to concern yourself with. But other than that, but I think a lot of in living beings, that's a little different. I mean, I guess I kind of wonder if, some of those National Geographic, when they're out in the wild and they're filming, whatever, the northern reticulated chipmunk. I mean, is it going to behave differently because there's cameras there? And maybe it does, and maybe I don't know. Of course, we can't say for sure, but obviously the presence of any human activity would probably change the behavior of anything in the wild. So again, does that mean that that's how everything else behaves. And I again, I don't know. There's certainly a lot of research to say that's how it works. But
well, what it kind of implies is that the world works more like how a game renders, in so much as what happens isn't determined until it needs to happen, until the system demands that it happens.
Kind of like a tree falling in the woods.
Yeah. So like as you're going through a video game and you're like walking down a street with your character, the entire length of the street isn't rendered. It's only what you need to see in the moment.
Right.
And this is kind of along that same principle. But I guess to get closer to Beth's question, if observation brings change, then is perception actually passive? If that's really how the universe works, then no. The act of observation, the act of perception is an active part of everything. The thing that immediately came into my mind as we started talking about this, which I'd never thought about on this level until just this moment, but is actually like the act of prayer. So is because those who have belief will swear to you that if enough people pray hard enough for you, it can often change the outcome.
And it's not just people. It's not just prayer that people think that. It just has to do with like the power of the mind or
thought. Yeah. Power of the mind. So however you want to define it, but it makes you wonder. It makes me wonder anyways. Again, I haven't thought about it along these lines previously, but is it that act of observation, even just in the mind, is it influencing that outcome? Even on that kind of a level, whether you want to call that godlike or whatever, is that the mechanics behind it?
Well, yeah, there's a paradox just in general with, again, going back to like the double slit, but if studying something or trying to study reality is changing it, then was that really fully reality?
Well, what is reality at that point? I mean, if there's a stretch of road that nobody is on, if there's a city street that nobody is on, it's 2:00 in the morning. I mean, it exists. Light is still, the city light is still shining on it. It's still there. It doesn't just disappear into nothing. I mean, there's object permanence. It's not like things aren't there just because you can't see them. I mean, it's there. But beyond that, I mean, it's like logically it's there. But
or is it?
Well,
I mean, you have it in your mind that it's there because you remember it. It might be, you might have pictures of it. It might be on a map or whatever, but is it being rendered as somebody needs it to be rendered? And is that the universe's way of, preserving resources? That's just the universe being green.
Just holding down processing power, CPU cycles.
Pretty much, yeah.
Is that why sometimes the simulation breaks and just absolutely insane stuff happens?
Simulation's been broken for years, my dude.
Yeah. Well.
But that's another discussion. Maybe that'll be topic 2. She just chuckled like maybe it will be. But no, it's I think there's enough evidence to make the argument that observation is certainly an active participant in everything that goes on.
Yeah. I mean, the old saying is perception is reality, right? So, and maybe there's a lot more to that than we think.
Think about media, for example. How much does that change how people act and react?
Well, and this goes
even
into
if it
the whole.
Shouldn't.
Yeah. And two people can watch the same thing and get something completely different out of it.
Yes.
And that's always been a fascinating part of perception. That's always been a fascinating part of everything. You know, two people can travel down the same road and see two completely different things, even if the scenery is the same. Two people look at the same color. I mean, remember that stupid meme from, it must have been 10 years ago now. Remember that dress?
The dress?
And people were like, yeah. And everybody seemed to have a different opinion about what the hell color it was. And it's weird, right? Like, I mean, this is just one of those things. And when we, you know, I guess it kind of is an offshoot of what we're talking about. But I mean, like people's eyes, for example, they all work differently. Everybody can, their eyes, you can take two people with perfectly working eyes, 20/20 vision, but they will see things differently. They will see colors differently than somebody else. I'll see things differently than somebody else will see things. You know, that's just, it's a fast. Now, is that because we're all sort of experiencing a different instanced reality? Like, you know, you're in an MMO and you go into one of these little instances and, you know, two people can go into the same one and they're essentially the same thing, but each person gets a slightly different experience out of it. You know, I mean, it doesn't, we can interact with each other and there's consequences and real things happen, but in a broader sense, like things that are less important, like the treetops, you know, two people can look at them and see two different things going on. Is that because the universe is rendered a little different for everybody? I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things I not sure I understand. I mean, logically speaking, no, of course, it doesn't make any sense that it would be that way. But I have learned through my life that what sounds logical, what makes a lot of sense, while often may be true, isn't always true. There's some things we just don't understand. We're not meant to understand, apparently.
Yeah, well, you're right. It doesn't make sense. But, you know, it doesn't make sense either that you can fire these particles through a slit and those particles have no brain. You know, they're not sentient, but yet the outcome changes based on our observation of it. So it's responding like, oh, I'm being watched now. I have to do something different. Makes no sense whatsoever. So perhaps it is that the universe renders itself as needed. You know, there's so much we don't understand. Perhaps that's how it all works. And, you know, you talked about like colors and how people see different colors and stuff. So do the animals. The animals see colors that we don't even know exist.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
Cats.
We talked before about like children who are able to see things that as adults we don't see.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you, Michael.
Yeah, I was just going to say, cats definitely see things. I know they've done studies that, you know, they see more of the electromagnetic spectrum than we do. Cats are weird anyway. Cats are their own universe. I mean,
Yes, they are.
Pets and dogs too, but I mean, cats are just so strange. And you know, it's weird. Every time Michelle or I leave the room, we'll have Freya up here and we'll go downstairs or something, and then she starts going crazy playing or whatever. We always joke that, oh, there's, you know, she's playing with a friend up there now. After we leave the room, there's somebody that comes up or there's something that's in there that she starts playing with because, you know, and it's a joke and all that. But, you know, with this kind of a discussion, it's like, well, maybe she sees something that we don't, or maybe, you know, there's something more that we don't know about. I don't know. This is, again, this is like one of those things that maybe I should have gotten baked before I discussed this, but,
well,
but it is interesting though to think about.
I mean, the question itself kind of bakes the old noodle. I mean, because there's nothing about observation changing things that makes any sense whatsoever, based on how we experience the world and how we know it to be. But yet it's been proven it does exist. So, and Beth made a point too about how, like, when you revisit memories, they change. When you give attention to things, the behavior of that thing will change. So I think there really is something to the idea that us paying attention to something changes the outcome, even beyond just the obvious. Like, if I pay more attention to what my child is doing, he's more likely going to have to behave himself. But even beyond that, this is
So are you saying, Dan, that people watching this show would get two different, or as many people are watching, let's say, Barbara watches and Austin watches and Ashley watches, and they each hear something different or see or get something different. Yeah. And I don't just mean that from they feel it. I'm not just talking like, they interpret something that we say differently, but they actually hear different things.
Yeah, I've kind of always wondered that too. This one, since I was a child, and I don't know why, but it's always fascinated me. When I'm speaking and I'm listening, the words happen in a certain way in my brain. Do they really happen the same way in yours? And how would we know? If I say dog, do you hear dog the same way I do? Do you speak it the same way I do? Or is it just in that transfer of information? Is it how you interpret it?
Yeah.
Well, I know you pronounce pillow differently than I do because it drives me crazy.
Or do I? And it's just how you're hearing it.
You're the only one that pronounces it that way, so
no, I'm not.
I'm pretty sure it's just you.
Does
Michael
he say pillow? Does he say pillow or pillow?
Yes, he says pillow.
I don't say pillow.
I've known
pillow.
lots. Yeah, I've known lots of people that pronounce it that way.
Yeah,
lots. Pillow.
It's like nails on a blackboard.
Cool Whip.
Yeah.
You put Cool Whip on pie. Pie tastes better with Cool Whip. Oh, hey there, Brian. What's going on? No, I know people hear stuff different, and that's part of it too. Is so I guess maybe Mark David Chapman wasn't crazy. Maybe Jodie Foster was talking to him.
Not Mark David Chapman.
Or not Mark David Chapman. That's the guy that was. I get my killers confused, or my attempted killers confused.
Yeah. I forget his name now. He's walking among us again.
I just what is wrong with me? That's the guy that, John Hinckley. Mark David Chapman is he's the guy that went after Lennon.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe he was I don't know I can't remember what his story was. Somebody was talking to him also, but I can't remember what that was. I don't know. I get my see, that's me. That my brain gets confused with that stuff too. I don't know. I'm living in my own reality today.
And would you like me to start calling pillows like Lindell's or something like that?
Oh God!
Would that make it easier for you to understand?
No.
It's like, no, stop, please. Yeah. Yes. See, it's not so bad now when I just say pillow, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. No, it's a curiosity though. I mean, do we even hear things the same way? Do we see things the same way? And is that why they're lizard people? Is some people just see lizards? I don't know.
I'm not sure how to really because I this is such a weird conceptual thing. Like, it doesn't make sense, and yet it makes perfect sense because we see it all the time. But we're seeing it through the lens of humans, And humans, every brain is different. Everybody sees and hears things differently. I mean, that's why, we watch court, every morning here, on Dan's channel. And we see and hear witness testimony. And what's the one thing about witness testimony is that two witnesses can view the same thing and give you two completely different accounts of what happened. Mm-hmm. And from that, they have to put together the best idea as to what actually happened, even though they weren't there. And so you just have to take the overlapping details and see what makes sense and kind of cross-reference all that together. But does that mean one person was right and one person was wrong as to what happened? Because, then there could be a camera that sees it. And of course, the camera is objective, right? I mean, the camera is just a piece of electronic machinery. It's just recording the electromagnetic spectrum. It doesn't have a bias. It doesn't have a history. It doesn't have a background. It doesn't know left from right, up from down. It just records. But then people will watch the camera footage, and two people can watch that camera footage and get two completely different things out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you were implying like the camera doesn't have like a brain or a dog in the race or a horse in the race, right, or whatever, or does it? Because again, it's an inanimate, it's an object that has no brain, all that kind of stuff, but
it's not a sentient being.
But it's observing. Yet. So does it change anything? No, this is such a fascinating topic. We could probably go round and round on this one for hours, but I think it's pretty clear now that we have an effect. And as Lindsay points out, the camera adds 10 pounds. Yeah.
So right now I've got 16 cameras on me right now.
When I moved the camera here in the studio and brought it closer because I added a teleprompter, I actually had to raise it up because a down angle, so there's a slight down angle on me now, which helps you look better. If you just shoot yourself straight on with the camera, it fattens you. So, and I'm fat enough. I don't need more of that.
Let's see. All right, let's change the camera.
Not
there
too
we
Michael.
Go. We'll just point it down. I can't. I'll have to put it at like 90 degrees, you guys. I'll look a lot better. Just looking straight down at my dome.
Perhaps. So interesting topic.
Yeah.
Now, how are we going to branch off of that one, my dear?
Well, the next one's a little wordy, so get
no.
ready.
The first one wasn't?
Yeah, I know. These got a little bit long.
I'll just sit back.
Kick back.
Okay, so to transition. Apparently, reality wasn't satisfied with being confusing. First, we learned that observing something might change it. Now, physics walks back into the room like, hey, quick question. What if every decision you didn't make still exists somewhere? So, every decision closes a door. That's part of being human. You choose one path, and every other possibility disappears behind you. Or at least, that's how it feels. But some interpretations of physics and cosmology suggest something far stranger. Instead of alternate possibilities disappearing, they may continue. Some versions of multiverse theory propose that every major quantum outcome and possibly every decision point creates branching realities where different outcomes continue to exist simultaneously. A universe where you stayed, a universe where you left. A universe where you spoke up, a universe where you stayed silent, a universe where one tiny decision changes the course of an entire life. Now, scientifically, these ideas are highly theoretical and heavily debated, but philosophically, they create a brutal moral problem. Because if every possible outcome continues somewhere, then every choice you make may also create realities where someone suffers because of the path that you didn't take. A version of someone abandoned, a version of someone saved. A version of you who became kinder, crueler, braver, or more selfish. And suddenly, morality stops feeling logic and it stops feeling local because instead of asking, did I make the right choice? The question becomes, what happens to all the worlds where I didn't? And maybe the most disturbing part is this. If infinite versions of reality exist, then somewhere every possible mistake already happened. Every betrayal, every kindness, every catastrophe, every act of love, every version of you, which creates a terrifying philosophical question. If every unchosen possibility still exists somewhere, are we morally responsible for suffering that occurs in realities that we never experience?
So it's a multiverse question, basically, but it's like a multiverse on steroids question.
Yes.
I 100% buy into it.
But are you morally responsible for what happens even if we aren't experiencing it?
Yeah,
No.
Sure, we are in the other universes.
Yeah.
You know, you'll pay the price on whatever path branches out, whether that's
Right.
a good or a bad.
But how does that affect the here and now?
Well, you know, there's infinite here and nows by this definition. So I don't think it has any effect on your choices because all choices will be made. So,
Right.
you know, can you have a moral responsibility in this moment where I chose those words as opposed to the branch off where I chose other words? No, because that version of Dan is now dealing with whatever that is. And the show is called In the Bar, Not in the Blind. But and we may change the name here in this universe anyways at some point.
It may happen.
Yeah. But no, I don't think it creates like a moral conundrum necessarily. I don't think I'm responsible for whatever choice I made because you make infinite choices all day, but I buy into the multiverse because the universe itself is infinite, constantly expanding, constantly growing, you know. So why wouldn't it also be that there are infinite universes that continue to branch out based on the choices that everybody makes? And the other thing too, if you're talking about like a moral responsibility for the choices that you make, often the choices that you make are in response to the choices that other people make. So you made a choice to ask us this question, which is guiding our responses right now.
Correct.
You know, are we morally responsible for having this discussion? I don't know if you could argue that point because you brought it up, so it's your fault. But then what influenced you?
Everything in the show is my fault.
Well, yeah, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
But then, you know, what influenced you to go down this path? So is it their fault? Is it their responsibility? But I think that's why I kind of buy into the multiverse, though, is there's so many things going on at once and an infinite amount of things going on at once. So why wouldn't there be infinite possible outcomes of every little choice as well? I don't know.
Well, yeah, but long before I really knew what the multiverse theory was, long before back in 1999, I got hit by a car. And I don't know what it is. Some people, they have kind of that near-death experience and they get very philosophical or they start to think about things. And I remember, you know, the brief time, I was only in the hospital 20 hours. I somehow didn't break any bones and I somehow didn't suffer anything other than a very minor concussion. And, you know, I have a big old scar on my arm right here where I had 17 staples and some stitches here. But while I'm sitting there in this hospital bed, I'm getting all thinky about what just happened. And it's like, man, I almost died. And then I start to think, you know, what if I had? You know, what if instead I didn't make it? And then I started to go down that path of, you know, maybe there's a reality someplace where I didn't. Or there's a reality someplace where I didn't even cross the street at that time. Or, and I don't know why you start thinking that stuff. I don't know what it is about, you know, my dad had just started dialysis too. I don't know. I was just kind of in this, I was having like the whole, at a very young age, I was 21 years old. I was having this very, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a midlife crisis sort of thing, but it was just like this thing where you get very
existential thought pattern.
It definitely was. It was very much existential because it was like, well, I don't know what does the future look like? What is going on? And you really start to break it all down. And that's where I started to think, and I didn't know that was multiverse at the time. And then a couple of years later, I was watching something about, you know, the multiverse. And I was like, that's what I was thinking about before. It's weird. I didn't know that was a thing. And now, of course, there's been countless shows about it. I suppose I should have thought of, maybe I did know about it because it was on Star Trek: The Next Generation, which I watched, you know, back in, I think that was back, that particular episode was, you know, season 5 or 6, whatever. And
that was
kind
the season 6 episode.
Yeah. And it was like that. And so I guess I buy into it. I mean, I do. There's a lot I don't know, but my science and physics background tells me that, you know, to the best of our knowledge, there is a very realistic possibility of alternate universes, like the idea that this is the only universe. Sure, we may not be able to travel across those universes. Hell, we really can't travel outside of our own solar system, basically, right now, that we know of. And maybe we never will be able to. But still, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist just because we can't conceptualize it. You know. So, but as for the moral dilemma part, well, if all possibilities, if all outcomes eventually occur, then you can't possibly be responsible. It's the old saying, if everybody's responsible, then nobody's responsible. You know, well, if everything can happen, then nothing can happen. If everything is an outcome, then I can't possibly be responsible for a choice I made, other than in this string, in this particular timeline, I'm responsible for what I do, at least to a point. But I'm not responsible for what happens out here for, you know, these other strings that branch off. You know, I'm not responsible for those.
Because you brought up like the alternate possibilities with a specific story, do you think it's possible for humans to suffer more from bad choices or from imagining lives that they've never lived? Because I know for a fact it's been studied in psychology multiple times that both can be very harmful.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because people will sit there and say, I should have done this and I should have done that. And they get themselves into a quandary, into a depression. I wish I hadn't done that. And then they start beating themselves up and they go into a depression. And, oh, I've wasted my life on this and I've done that. And, you know, that whole, or they live vicariously through others, or they, you know, they look at, they look at the current reality as something different than what it is. There's, you know, delusions. And so I don't know. But yeah, I don't see, I'm trying to think of how there could be a moral dilemma. You know, I'm trying to, but I don't think, I think I'm on board with Dan. I don't have any sort of moral dilemma outside of this particular timeline that we are in now.
I think we broke Lindsay, who actually enjoyed her one time on the show and would probably do it again, but she just said this is a lot.
It is.
Can you ask that last question again, just to make sure that I have it all in
The
my
one
brain?
that I asked Michael?
Yeah.
Oh, I said, do you think it's possible that humans suffer more from bad choices or from imagining the lives that they've never lived?
Imagining the lives they've never lived.
Yes.
Would be my vote.
Yeah.
Because of the
Well, I was saying
fact
yes.
that
That's what I said.
that
Not yes.
spending
I
your
agree.
time imagining what you didn't do and what you don't have results in inaction.
It's the most non-productive thing you can do.
Yeah, because you focus on it. So I think that would be more suffering than like messing stuff up.
I used to know someone that just
action
did
and
that.
you can learn from that. What do you learn from wishing you had something?
You can learn a lot from bad choices.
Oh, yes.
You can also learn a lot from a dummy.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, if you choose to learn a lot from it, and we see that over on the other channel all the time, where you'll have people who make the mistake, they make the bad choice, and then they're like, okay, yeah, you'll never see me again. And, you know, some of them walk away and you believe them, you'll never see them again. But then others, they just keep making the same mistake over and over.
Right.
But I wonder how long it'll be before we see a multiverse theory defense for legal issues.
That's interesting. Well, yeah.
It worked in the other timeline, Judge.
Well, you could start actually questioning again, like, does free will matter? If all the choices have already happened somewhere.
Well, you still have the free will to make certain choices in the moment. So yeah, it matters.
It matters. But
this version of me right now just chose to say that.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just saying that there could be in the future, especially when you're talking about, you know as well as I do that some of the things that get brought up by lawyers in court cases, you're already like scratching your head like, what? That makes no sense. So, you know, I don't necessarily know if it's that far off that at some point in human future that it could be argued.
But here's the question that I think stems out of this. So if there is multiverse and if all things are possibilities, what is God then? Is there multiple gods? Is every universe have its own God? Is there like a big God over all the infinite universes? Like what? So is there like a multiverse where some people, where the same person goes to hell, but another one where they go to heaven, or whatever, you know, whatever faith you believe in, where they get reincarnated as a sheep or a dog or what? I mean, like, so like, is that what happens? How does that work? I wonder.
Well, I was curious if you would go there actually on this topic. It doesn't, the idea of a multiverse and the fact that I believe in it does not alter my belief in God in any way whatsoever. Because one of the things that I accept is that the Almighty is ultimately incomprehensible. I am not built to understand it. And it would therefore follow that his creations are equally incomprehensible. So it all lines up for me. The idea that there would be infinite universes based off of all of the choices that we make, it all perfectly lines up for me under one supreme being. And my complete inability to comprehend it all. And we can look at things in nature, for example, like the ant that doesn't really comprehend that you're even there.
Right.
You know, it's on its mission.
Versus the one that explodes to kill predators.
Well, we'll get to that in the true false round. But, you know, so I don't think there's infinite gods. I think there's, you know, at least in my version of faith, there's one. But that one God has set up an incredibly complex system that I'm just this one little super tiny piece in the corner, and I can't even comprehend just how vast the system is. And
But
that,
you're
to
one
me, is
tiny
part of the
piece.
beauty of it.
You're one tiny piece in the corner times almost infinite.
Yeah,
Because,
just like the universe itself.
so you're saying basically there's one God, and then all these universes and all these infinite possibilities are under that umbrella. So like it's the same God across all the universes. That's the one constant, but everything else is different. Some things are almost imperceptibly different, but in others it's radically different. There's a universe out there where Dan is the atheist, Mike is Buddhist, Beth is agnostic. And like there's like this, there's a different version of everybody everywhere.
And there's a version where I died at 9 years old in an unfortunate cotton candy incident as I was making it for my Uncle Bill and Aunt Kathy, who ran a popcorn wagon.
Cotton candy can
Sweet
be
way to
dangerous.
go out, I guess.
I mean, what a sweet death.
But to me, the multiverse is almost like a dimensional thing. We have the 3 dimensions. You can argue a 4th when you include time, but there's more and more study and belief in science that the amount of dimensions goes way, way beyond that.
Yes.
To me, another dimension is just the choices that's branching off in yet another dimension.
You're about to enter another dimension.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. No, I mean that again, I believe, see, this is the thing, science-minded I am, and while I don't have definitive proof that these things are there, but the theories behind them make sense to me for some reason. And so that's why I can see that. Like there's some things that don't make sense. But a multiverse, parallel universes, parallel worlds or dimensions, whatever you want to call them, to me makes sense. I don't know why it makes sense. It just kind of does. I guess it's always made sense to me. Again, ever since I got hit by that damn car, and maybe there's obviously the parallel universe where that never happened, and so this conversation wouldn't make sense to that version.
Yeah.
And again, I appreciate stuff like this. This is just one of those it's a very heady topic. I can't see the chat, but apparently it broke Lindsay.
No, she's coming back now.
Okay.
She said that she had a tough day, and had to do like a scream singing to kind of like get rid of the demons.
I get it.
But then she just laughed at my my unfortunate cotton candy incident idea. So
can I just say, by the way, cotton candy's overrated.
It is.
And I mean, hot take. I know this in the blind, Mike and Dan's time for hot takes. Cotton candy's overrated. If you died because of a cotton candy incident, it would not be a sweet way to go. That would just be not worth it.
You switched again.
Yay!
There we go.
Okay.
And we play hot potato here on in the blind.
Oh heavens! See, this particular universe is just plotting against us.
It is.
There's another universe where this show is already at 1 million subs.
This show runs smoothly, and there's never a technical glitch. I would love. I'm gonna try and tunnel my way to that universe. Excuse me a moment.
There's a universe there's a universe where Netflix picked up this show.
Oh yeah.
Because they're doing podcasts.
Although over there it's still sponsored by Joe's House of Meth.
Well, yes.
But in that
they're
universe,
a silent partner with Joe.
But in that universe, meth just tastes, delightful. Yeah, it's like it's like
candy.
It's the main ingredient in cotton candy.
Yes. God damn it.
Cotton methy, they call it.
Oh my gosh.
One of
I'm
the
starting-
top
See?
sellers at Joe's.
I'm starting to remake the words to Cotton Eye Joe in my head. I'm surprised you didn't go there first.
I've been
But
Cotton Eye Meth. I've been married a long time ago.
Oh.
Oh, my God.
heavens.
Well, Cotton Eye Joe's House of Meth is gonna have a. We're gonna be making that song after the show. All right, get ready. That's gonna be a club banger.
Mm-hmm.
Complete with a new line dance.
Oh,
Yeah.
line dance. Seek his lines.
Nice.
All right. On that note, Multiverse, yes, responsible for every single choice that is branching off. No.
But not moral dilemma. No. Nope.
No
That's
moral
how we
dilemma
summarize
here.
that. Except now there's going to be, because it's the true false round.
Yes.
Yes. This is where we no longer talk about reality and consciousness and moral
This is where mom and
responsibility.
dad fight.
Maybe.
It's where we talk about history and biology and human decision making that becomes significantly less trustworthy.
Actually, wasn't it topic 2 that mom and dad fought on Monday?
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't the true false round?
Well, we argue on the true false round almost every week, though. So
Yeah, 'cause your
Somebody
questions can be dumb sometimes.
See?
my questions are brilliant.
Yeah, just keep telling yourself that.
I am.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, true false round.
Going
We
under
get
the desk.
5 questions thrown at us. There you go. Mike gets off the screen to avoid the things that get thrown. 5 questions, 3 minutes each for Beth to read us the question for us to debate and discuss. Often crazy. You'll learn something, I guarantee you that. Probably a lot of things you don't want to learn.
Yes.
Ready?
Lindsay has called it nightmare fuel multiple times.
Yes. And I'm sure that won't change tonight.
No.
All right, go.
Owls have 4 eyelids, including one used specifically while hunting.
Well, our rabbits have a couple. Cats have 2 sets, as I recall. Lizard people have 8.
Owls are creepy ass. Anyway, yeah.
We have one that hangs out on our roof.
Yeah, we do.
Like they're
Things
kind of
like-
cute in a way, but they're also creepy. Like I feel like I feel like that would be, there's a universe, there's a multiverse where owls are, you know, the most dominant animal in the food chain. No, I
That
believe
brings up a
I
question.
buy it.
There's all this stuff with aliens and stuff going on. Is it really aliens, or is it just the multiple universes colliding and overlapping? And it's the same species that we have, only it's others that have become dominant. Is that how the lizard people happen?
I don't
Are
know.
they actually from Earth? It's just the version where they rose to power.
So they found a big enough glitch to cross over.
Maybe.
Maybe some of those books that you read aren't really books. They're just the author's mind into another universe. And
By the way, if you like this topic, I suggest you check out the show Fringe, because it definitely goes into this.
Oh, Fringe is great. And Barbara, thank you for the $5. Yes, I got it, but I don't get alerts real time. So not while I'm in the show.
thank you, Barbara.
Yes.
So
thank
no,
you.
owls. If you would have told me that they have laser eyes and that you know that they're whispering to you in the night to influence your dreams, I would also believe that. So
I'm true on this one.
yeah,
Lock in.
yep.
All right. We say true.
It's false. But it sounds like it's possible because biology is weird. Owls have 3 eyelids, like our rabbits. One for blinking, one for sleeping, and a third transparent membrane called a nictitating membrane that helps protect and lubricate the eye. So the idea of a specialized extra eyelid sounds weirdly believable, especially for an animal that already looks like it delivers prophecies in cursed forests or, you know, things on Harry Potter. But Owls do not have 4 eyelids, and they do not have a separate eyelid used specifically for
But they have
hunting.
3, which is still
Yes.
weird.
It is still weird. Like I said, our rabbits do too.
Yes.
And rabbits can actually sleep with their eyes open.
Yep. Most do.
Yep.
Except Floppy that does her death sleep.
Yes.
She throws herself on her side and looks dead, and that's how she sleeps. But that's like a supreme example of comfort too.
Yes.
She's secure in her environment.
That's what
Or
Freya
she's
does.
just so old she doesn't care anymore.
Probably both.
Yeah. All right. Number 2.
Yeah.
Go.
In 1749, a London theater advertised a performer who could climb inside a wine bottle on stage. And when he failed to appear, the audience rioted and destroyed parts of the theater.
Let's see.
Does
18th
this fall into your-
century.
Yeah. Does this fall into one of
Stupid.
your rules?
Certainly would sound like it's true. See, and what's weird is about this one is it's not really that wild. So it's even more believable because it's not like, people made outrageous claims back then. Then outrageous claim couldn't happen or didn't happen for some reason. And people got upset because they paid their 3 shillings to get in there. And now they felt ripped off. This is one of those, I could very easily see it. I'm telling you, I could climb into a wine bottle. I'll see you tomorrow evening at 7:30. All right. And then the guy doesn't show up. I've got my 138 shillings from them. Yes, the perfect crime. No, I believe it.
Well, the question doesn't make clear what the size of the wine bottle is either.
Standard wine bottle.
Well, you didn't say that as part of the question.
Well,
But
if I say a wine bottle, I think most people picture the same thing in their brain. So
I don't. It could be one of those gag wine bottles. It's like this big.
do you need me to start getting more technical so these things get wordier and wordier?
No, you already do that on the other questions.
Okay.
Some lady in Wisconsin. I climb into a wine bottle every night. After work, you gotta have some of that. Oh God, I climb into that wine. I fall asleep in there, for God's sake.
This is dumb. It has to be true.
Yes.
All right. We're on true.
It's true. And it kind of sounds like history was written by drunken raccoons. A London theater really did advertise a mysterious performer known as the Bottle Conjurer, who supposedly could climb into an empty wine bottle in full public view. People packed the theater to witness what was essentially Georgian clickbait. Georgian being the time of, instead of like the Victorian era or whatever. Anyway, but the performer never appeared. The audience realized they'd been scammed and immediately responded with property destruction. Theater seats were ripped apart, windows were smashed. It became full chaos. So 18th century Londoners absolutely rioted because a man failed to become bottled soup.
And then he climbed out of the wine bottle and went, man, that was close.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, they almost discovered me.
Interesting. Okay. Number 3.
Yeah.
Go.
In 16th century France,
Okay.
rats accused of destroying barley crops were reportedly given a lawyer who argued they could not safely appear in court because cats might attack them on the way.
Lady Jax, good evening. Haven't seen you in a while.
I thought you guys would enjoy this one because of the TCF crossover. Although I don't think you've ever seen Rats on Trial.
Oh, I think you could claim some of the Cretans we've seen are rats. So barley lawyer can't safely show because of cats. And this was 17th century where?
16th century France.
It's French.
I think Judge Middleton presided over one of these cases.
Yeah, well, he told that story. By the way, side discussion, I'm getting like so many hate comments about his classic courtroom now. Like everybody hates that thing. I think it's cool.
Oh, the ornamental one?
I think it's cool as hell. The acoustics are a little, I mean, it's very churchy. It's a lot of reverb in there.
Well, it wasn't designed for microphones.
Yeah.
It looks like it was designed by some first lady. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Very regal. Mm-hmm. It's very, well, I'm obviously, again, it's 120-year-old architecture, but I mean, yeah.
And better built than what they've got next door. I'll guarantee you that.
For sure.
But anyways, this is ridiculous and it's old, so it has to be true by your rules.
It does, but even this sounds like this sounds like a load of hooey, but I mean, oh man, French are stupid. I can't imagine this being true.
But I could imagine a lawyer arguing it.
Oh, the lawyer part, I imagine completely.
And haven't we established in another true-false question somewhere in our 21 previous episodes that there was a situation where an animal got a lawyer?
Yes.
I believe there was. And, mooses got drunk and all sorts of weird stuff went down. This feels true to me.
I have to stick with the rules, even though I really do think this is a bunch of barnacles, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's true.
All right. We're already past time and you both answered. So it's actually true. And somehow, the longer you think about it, the worse it gets. A famous account from 16th century France describes rats being formally put on trial for destroying barley crops. And yes, the rats reportedly received legal representation. The lawyer, Bartholomew Shishane, argued that the rats had not been properly summoned to court. Then he escalated things further by arguing that even if they had been summoned, traveling to court would expose them to mortal danger from cats. Meaning somewhere in legal history, a man essentially stood up in court and said, "Your Honor, my clients cannot attend because they may be eaten on the commute."
Your Honor, this is the counsel Rat A. Tui, representing the rat people. Like,
in case you were curious, this happened in Autun, France. Spelled Autun, because nothing actually is pronounced.
You wouldn't pronounce the N.
Autun.
Oh, okay. Well, I got the pronunciation online, so
it's wrong.
All right.
The only C, R, F, and L for the most part are the only consonants that you pronounce. Basically, if you want to properly pronounce anything in French, just drop like the last 9 letters and you're there.
All right.
But add in some random ones elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Germans over-engineer their engineering. The French over-engineer the language. That is how it's done.
Fair enough.
The whole idea of summoning rats.
I actually have like really good sources on this one too, which make it like way
again harder. A lawyer representing rats, buy it 100%. The rest of it I had a hard time with.
Well, we see that part every day.
Yeah, exactly. Fine, we'll continue.
Tracks.
Yeah. So no, I that's why I was true on it, because I was just like, it sounds insane, but it does fall under the rules. So I had to stay consistent.
All right. What are we on, number 4?
Yeah.
Go.
In early modern Europe, powdered human skull was sold as medicine, and some doctors prescribed it specifically as a cure for nightmares caused by ghosts.
Powdered human skull, and where was this?
Modern Europe. early modern Europe.
Early modern Europe. Well, so I reference this one from time to time. Million Ways to Die in the West. The Seth MacFarlane character, and I forget who plays the love interest, but they go to the fair, and there's this guy dealing medicine, and he shows off the bottle, and he reads through the ingredients, and one of the ingredients is red flannel.
Yeah.
So he's like, "There's shirt in this," and the guy goes, "Science." So this sounds like something they would do.
Are ghosts keeping you up at night? Is the memory of your loved one keeping you from getting that good night's sleep? Crushed up human skull. It's right here. And it's only 6 marks 47. So get it tonight or else you won't be able to sleep for a week. Oh, yes. Results may vary.
Just don't ask them where they got the skulls from.
Yeah.
You picked an interesting accent for that one.
Well, that was intentional because...
I know.
I mean,
Right,
I guess I could
Fairfield.
have been Scott. Oh, right. Let's talk about it like this then. Right. All right. Crushed up human skulls. Don't ask where we got those either.
If it's not human skulls, it's crap.
It's crap. We didn't crush up the skulls of the Irish because you had gotten drunk. That's why.
So basically, it's just concentrated bone broth.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Well, it says powdered.
Yeah.
powdered.
so-
powdered.
Just add it to water and instant bone broth.
I was just thinking maybe it was more in line with Joe's
Just
House of
sprinkle it
Meth.
on there. I believe it's on
like
a
the-
Martha Stewart, early Martha
It's like the
Stewart
early
cookbook.
version.
It's kind of like chicken bouillon, only different.
Gross.
Powdered sugar,
Mhm.
powdered skull. I'll have a powdered skull donut, please. Thank you.
Was that how they learned how to snort lines? Did they start with
Probably.
bone?
Oh my God.
Possible.
What is this show? I
Nobody knows, Michael.
I tell my audience, I'm like, this is a show unlike any other, and again, proof.
Yeah.
Dan, I don't know how to.
This is why this show is a slow growth show. Is the algorithm after every single episode just virtually throws its hands up and goes, "I don't know what the hell to do with this thing."
I don't know. True,
Yeah.
false.
Yeah.
I don't know. This
But back
one
the
to
question,
me,
this is true.
I guess I'll say true. It sounds ridiculous, but it's
But it won't be
early
skull,
modern
it'll be
Europe.
like
It's not.
hip or something.
Yeah, it's not quite like 16th century, but I'm gonna stretch. We'll have to stretch the rule to make this one true, but we'll go true on this.
All right,
It's false. But
but it's a hip.
no, but a lot of the horrifying part is real. Medical cannibalism, which is what they called it, really existed in parts of Europe. Human blood, human fat, mummy powder, even powdered skulls were all used in various historical medical treatments. So, yeah, people did consume human remains as medicine. But after immense searching, there is no credible historical evidence that it was ever used specifically to prevent ghost-caused nightmares.
Okay.
So,
but
yeah.
there's also no evidence that it didn't. And
Well, if I get to start making questions based on evidence that doesn't exist, this show's really going to get fun.
and there's an alternate universe where it absolutely was used for that.
Where it's still being used for that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
And after every question, I can just say, well, Michael told me I could do this. So
Silent Tylenol is people.
oh no. How many more times does Johnson & Johnson need to be sued?
Many.
You know those like especially industrial kind of businesses where they have the big signs that say like days since last accident. Johnson & Johnson headquarters is days since last lawsuit. Yeah.
3. which is about as high as it goes.
Barbara, I completely understand why Beth has migraines after this show. Well, it's her fault.
I mean, yeah, she's the one that brings this on. We're just here. We're just the two idiots that discuss the questions. But the heady part of it, the brain twisting part of it, is brought about by Beth.
Well, it's all on her.
Yep.
All right, number 5.
Yep.
Last question. Go.
Usually your favorite.
Uh-huh.
Some sea cucumbers defend themselves by shooting parts of their internal organs out of their butt as predators and later regrow them. And later regrow them.
As predators would be even funnier.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the turtle that breathes out its ass.
Yes.
Well, a sea cucumber will actually turn itself inside out.
This one seems very, very believable. Again,
There was a Chinese restaurant in Muskegon. It was in North Muskegon when I was growing up that actually had sea cucumber on the menu. I never tried it, but it was there. I distinctly remember it.
Yes, but did any of them serve the internal organs that were shot out of the butt?
Well, that's why I never tried it, is I knew that the damn thing was weird.
I would like let's see. Oh, everything looks good. Hey, how about the cucumber anus, the sea cucumber anus? I'll take some of that, please. Oh, and Mugu Gai Pan. Yeah, thank you.
Mugu Gai Pan. This is probably true because again, because they will like turn themselves inside out, which implies that it would like shoot bits of kidney and stuff at people.
Yeah.
Let's make him a bitch to work with in the kitchen. Huh.
Yeah, I definitely am gonna say true on this. Again, we've heard far more strange things in nature than this. This is, compared to some of the other things we've heard, this is only like moderate. Yeah, this is pretty moderate by comparison. I mean, it's not super tame, but
I mean, this doesn't involve the temperature of the sun or anything like that, like we've seen from other animals.
Yeah.
This just involves,
Yeah, I mean, I could see this. I mean, this would be one of those things I'd see on a nature show and go, oh, wow, yeah, that makes total sense. The ambulances will have to wait their turn.
Exactly.
Oh.
All right, I think we're true, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
It is true.
There you go.
Which means the ocean continues to be an active crime scene against all of biology. Some sea cucumbers eject internal organs, sticky defensive tubes, or parts of their digestive system directly out of their butt when they feel threatened. The predator gets confused, the sea cucumber escapes, and later it simply regrows the missing organs. So yes, there's an animal whose survival strategy is basically take my intestines and leave me alone, which somehow works. The ocean is not a nice place.
I do that after eating too much Del Taco as well.
I was going to say, haven't we all had that conversation with the toilet once or twice? Take my intestines and leave me
I told
alone.
you, I've had to write numerous apology letters to the city of Avondale for what I've done to the sewer system. So, yeah. But it was self-defense, I swear.
All right. That wasn't the weirdest one you've given
No,
us.
that was...
5. It was
Yeah.
relatively tame.
But the fact that it regrows the parts that it shoots out, that's creepy to me.
It is creepy, and it's sad that we've gotten to the point on these questions where something shooting things out of its butt to defend itself is like, oh yeah, of course, that makes a lot of sense. Seems normal. And then regrowing that.
Somewhere in a lab, no doubt, they're working on that, trying to figure out what it is about the makeup of the sea cucumber that allows it to regrow itself and try to harness that for humans.
Yeah.
To grow new kidneys and things like that.
So you guys have talked about changing the name to In the Bar, but I think we should do like some behind the scenes content. And the three of us could go and do like bar trivia and see how we do.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be the true in the bar.
There you go. So for 50 points, bonus question, since we're talking about regrowing things, what is the one part of the human body that will regrow if you cut it off?
Oh,
See, I know
already
that
this.
answer.
Does the chat? Tell us, chat, what's the one part of the human body that will regrow if you cut it off?
Yep.
There is one spot. And I know because I've done it.
And
You never put the chat on the screen. I just realized I have to go
Oh,
back to look
well,
at the
here. There's your chat.
chat. Okay.
Does anybody know? Good thing I'm not making this into a podcast yet. All this dead air would kill you.
Yeah.
Liver? Nope. Not your liver.
well, the liver does regrow.
Yes.
And
but
actually,
not-
what's
not the
interesting
whole
about the
thing.
liver is when you do a liver transplant, you can take out a piece of somebody's liver, you put it into somebody else. It grows into a full new liver.
and your stomach will also completely regenerate itself.
Allow me to rephrase. Will regrow back just like it was before. How's that?
Anybody?
Liver, tongue, kidney.
Ooh,
All right. Shall I tell them?
Yeah.
go for it. Unless you want me or Michael to.
What do you see on your screen? The tip of my finger. Your finger forward of your nail will grow back.
Yep.
Exactly like it was before, fingerprint and all.
My,
And I know because I've sliced that sucker off once.
I know.
My-
I used to play guitar a lot, and it would just rip layers of skin right off.
It was really weird when it was growing back, though, because it grew back in like layers.
Mhm.
You would have a layer that would grow over, and then it would shed itself, and there'd be a new layer, and it did that like a dozen times before it was finally complete. But yeah.
Yep.
The more you know.
Yeah, my buddy did that. He was walking a dog, and he somehow, like the leash or something got the end of his finger when the dog like pulled really hard, and he showed us, and it was just weird. And then we watched over the subsequent months as this thing grew back, and at first it looked like kind of like a almost like a baby finger, like a baby piece. Like it was like what is going on? And sooner or later it came back to like the full fingertip. We were like, what the hell? We thought that can't be normal, but then when we looked it up, it was like, oh yeah, that's actually a thing that generally happens.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Kind of creepy.
All right, everybody. Well, that does it for tonight. I hope you all had fun. We did. Some heady topics, some good, true, false. Can't wait to see what you bring us next week.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we'll be back Monday for the show, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the Courtroom Files at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific, a half an hour early if you're a channel member over there. Michael, at some point, will have his Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion video up tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll be at Sidebar tomorrow night as well over at the Courtroom Files, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for that. So thank you for joining us. Please, on your way out, if you have not already, smushify the like button and go over to itbshow.com and sign up for the emails so you can get Beth's show notes because she'll have some good links tonight.
Yes.
Reminder to get the video.
It's already in there.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. All right. That's it. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.